What's up, everyone? All right, so this is a surprise day. I wasn't expecting a big green day today at all. I thought today was going to be, the fourth day of kind of choppy momentum. It was slow Thursday. It was slow Friday. Yesterday I lost 32 bucks. So, I just was like, well, we're in a choppy market. We're in a slow market. I'm going to have to take it really easy today. 7,500 shares, max size. All right, first trade, lost 600 bucks. Second trade, lost 1,300 bucks, and I'm thinking, even with 7,500 shares, now I'm down $2,000 on the day. Man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of this. I'm probably going to be closing the day red. It's probably going to be my third red day of the month. And then I started to dig my way out of the hole. I had a $200 winner, so got out of the hole a little bit. And then another small winner. So then I'm down about 1,300 bucks on the day, and I'm thinking, all right, let's see. Maybe I'll actually get myself back to green today. And boom, red to green move pops up on the scans, and that was the big winner. I wasn't expecting it at all. It was a higher price stock, got in at $9.65 with a total of 1,400 shares. So started with small size. It ends up getting halted. It opens higher. I add 2,500 shares at $10.50. It squeezes up to 11. I add another 2,500 shares at 11, squeezes up to 11.20. I add another 1,300 shares, and now it's halted on another circuit breaker. It resumes and hits a high of $12.88. Boom, $10,000 on that trade, just like that. So this is a go-to setup that we teach in the classes and I trade on a regular basis. It's a reverse split momentum trade. Big winner, and I needed it. So now I'm up $53,000 on the month and $703,000 in the account that I started with less than $600 about 18 months ago. So just like that, from 600 bucks to 700,000. That means I am 70% of the way to the big $1 million mark. $296,000 to go. 5 months to do it. Need to average $60,000 a month to get to $1 million inside of 2 years. That's the goal. We'll see if it can be done. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the recap today. Any questions, any comments, leave them below. I'll come back through and answer them later. All right, enjoy. All right, everyone. So we're going to do our midday market recap, go over the trades from today. Today was a crazy day. Really, out of nowhere, a big green day. I wasn't expecting it. We've had the last 3 days, slow, choppy markets, not very good follow through. And then all of a sudden today, one really big opportunity. So, just like that, things can turn around pretty quickly. I'm just looking on Facebook, and for some reason it looks like it's broadcasting a black screen. Let me know if you guys can see me. It might just be my Facebook feed. I'll just check on my computer also, my other laptop. So let's see. You see me? Okay. All right. Well, that's good then. So, so here we are today, up $9,516.31. I did not expect it at all. I thought today was going to be another slow, choppy day. It was slow and choppy on Thursday, slow and choppy on Friday. Yesterday, I lost 32 bucks. I was expecting that it was going to be another slow day. And then all of a sudden, really out of nowhere, we had this one opportunity. So what's really important is that on my first 4 trades today, I lost money, and I was down $1,400 on the day, but I wasn't at my max loss. So I was able to keep my losses small enough that I didn't hit the max loss, because if I'd hit that max loss, I would have had to walk away for the day, I'd be done, and then I wouldn't have been able to get the one trade that gave me basically the rebound. So I always try to keep that last trade in my pocket if I can. Now, if I end up blowing through my max loss, it happens sometimes, and it's the way it goes. And the most disappointing thing is that it means even if a great opportunity shows up later in the day, I'm not going to be able to trade it, because you have to follow the max loss. You have rules and you got to follow them. So red day minus 32, green day plus 9,500. that's a pretty good profit to loss ratio. I can definitely live with that. But I was down $1,900 today at the lowest. So my high water mark, as you'd say, I guess, was negative $1,900. I started with 2 losers. And I kind of have a rule of thumb that if I have 3 losers in a row, I'm done trading. And so I was pretty close to it. First loss was on Riot. So now this is probably for some of you guys watching in the chat room who are beginner traders, some of you guys who are on Facebook or YouTube, you're like, geez, Louise, this is $9,500 in one day. How is this possible? How is this happening? How is this let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th day that I've made more than $8,000 this month, right? This is ridiculous. So it really, I know that I kind of can make this look easy, and it's because I've been doing this for a long time. But the reality is I'm doing the same thing every single day. The only difference between me making 9,000 today and one of you making maybe 900 is share size and the conviction to sometimes hold through dips, because I've been in the market long enough that intuition can sometimes guide me through those tough moments where you have to decide, do I bail out or do I hold on? So I'm going to leave this here for right now. We'll come back and look at the P&Ls. But today started the same as any other day, looking at the High Day Momentum Scanner. All right, so this is our gap scanner. So we'll run this scan for 9 a.m. All right, so 9 a.m. this morning, we've got a few stocks on the watch list. All right, so SCON is the leading gapper in the entire market right here. And I'll be honest, I wasn't interested in it. I wasn't interested because I thought it was too expensive. Now, when I was looking at it, to me, I just sort of was like, well, I don't know. It just seems too expensive. I just don't think that I can trust it. I've not had a good kind of run the last 3 or 4 days. It's not worth pushing my luck on a $10 stock. I'll just look for something else. So initially, I was like, no, don't like it. IG, no, don't like it. It's too cheap. PLX, too cheap. Mara, kind of a little too cheap. I don't really like it. ACET, not enough volume. Tops, don't like that stock and it's too cheap. Riot, that's the first one on the list that I like right here. All right, so Riot was number 1. So this stock is gapping up 15%. All right, so that's a pretty substantial gap. It's not as big as SCON, but it's a substantial gap. So it's gapping up 15%. It ends up squeezing up to a pre-market high of 784. So when the bell rings, it shows a little bit of weakness, and then it pops up. So I'm going to back this out to a 10-second chart. I don't use 10-second charts while I'm trading, but sometimes I'll show them to you as just sort of an example of what I was seeing in the first few minutes because it's so volatile. All right, so now you can kind of get this picture. It dips down, and as it surges back up, I got in at 68. So I jump in this at 768 with 5,000 shares. All right, so 5,000 shares times $7, it's like a $35,000 position. So, dollar amount, decent sized position. It pops up to a high of $7.77. So I sold half. I was like, okay, I'm going to take some profit. I'm going to sell half. So I sell half. And then it drops all the way back down here, and I sold the rest at $7.38. And I ended up losing on that trade $670. All right, so you can see here, I'm in at 70. I sell half at 74, 75, and I sell the rest at 38. So boom, that's a real bummer. So that was disappointing. Starting the day red $670. That's not what I wanted. So that was trade number 1. And I didn't get back in it. It didn't give us another opportunity. It's just been weak basically for the rest of the day. So disappointing there. All right, so first strike. All right, you're out. Okay, so that's 1. So strike 1, Riot. Strike 2, HJLI. All right, so I take this trade and I lose $1,300 on it. Okay, so this one, it hits the scanners. Or no, sorry, actually, I don't think this one was on the scanners. I think someone called this one out in the chat room. And I pulled up the chart and I was like, okay, it actually looks interesting. It's a recent IPO stock. And what we know about recent IPO stocks is that they can be pretty volatile. And in the past, they've made big moves. So I was definitely interested. it pops up to a high of 38 and it's doing a 1 minute micro pullback right here. So as it's doing that pullback, that's when I decided to add for the break over 38. Okay, so on this one, I ended up adding, let's see, right here at 38. And then I guess I filled at 34. I don't know why. And then I tried to add at the $0.50, only filled 300 shares, tried to sell half at 54, didn't fill, tried to sell some at 53, and then I ended up stopping out of the whole thing at 20 and 13. So basically bailing out in this candle as it dropped back down. It just didn't hold up. And as you can see, it just ended up going lower and lower and lower and hasn't been a very good stock today. So disappointing there. That's $1,300 in the red. So, $1,300 on that plus 670 on Riot. So at this point, I'm down almost $2,000 on the day. And, I'm starting to think, okay, well, this day is getting a little out of control. I mean, this would be my second biggest red day of the month if it keeps going in this direction. So I was sort of like, all right, I really need to turn it around. I see Pixie. Now someone calls out Pixie in the chat room. They're like, hey, take a look at Pixie. It's popping up. So I see it popping up and I jump in it. And even though I told myself today I wasn't going to trade more than 7,500 shares, I jumped in Pixie with 12,500 shares. So, I'm so bad at, not doing that. And this is where it really gets me, because if Pixie had gone the wrong direction really fast, probably would have lost $1,500 on it and been down 3,500 on the day. And that would have been my third loss and I would have been out. So, what I saw on this that I really liked was the daily chart. And I thought this looks good as it's kind of curling up here, possible retest of 446. So I jumped back in it. Now again, 12,000 shares of this stock is like a $50,000 position. So putting a good amount of cash into it. And you can see it pops up here. It squeezes up to a high of 84 and I'm able to sell and take some profit. So $550 profit. Actually, I was up more like 1,000 and then or maybe 700. And then I sold the rest as it came back down, scaling out some break even and then the rest at a loss. So this was disappointing because I was like, look at this, another one that's not holding up. And so at that point I was down, I want to say like $1,300 on the day or something like that. Recovered, some of the loss, but not all of it. BLIN, I jumped in that one. I think Jill was taking that one as a trade today. I got in for the break of $2 at $1.95. It's a whole dollar breakout setup. That was right here. And it hit $2 and then sold off. So 7,500 shares on that. I only made $180. And so with that, I was sitting down around $1,200, $1,300. And then in the room, you guys were like, okay, take a look at SCON because it's a reverse split and it's sold off, but it's starting to bounce back up. So I look at it and I was like, okay, I see how it is starting to bounce back up here. You can see right in here, it's starting to curl. It broke over 9 and some volume came in. It just sort of started to ease back up and the high a day was 950. So as I saw that, I was like, okay, this one, this may be worth watching for a red to green move. It is a reverse split today. So for those of you that haven't heard of this term, so reverse split, all stocks on the big exchanges like NYSE and Amex, whatever, they have to maintain $1 per share. They have a minimum price. It has to be above $1. So if the stock is below $1 for a long period of time, they can get a delisting notice from the exchange. The exchange is like, hey, you're not in compliance or whatever. You need to get above this level. And there's only two ways to do that. Either the company does something amazing, really good earnings or whatever, the price goes up, or they do a reverse split. So when they do a reverse split, if you're holding 1,000 shares of this stock yesterday at 90 cents, then today you'd be holding 100 shares at $9. So what they do is for, let's say the whole float was, I believe, 12 million shares. So the float's 12 million shares. So they take back the 12 million shares, basically. They change the price from 90 cents to $9, and then they give back 1.2 million shares. So what it does is it cuts the float down by 90%. And so what's really common is that these stocks will do a reverse split. And then now that it's a more reasonable price, you'll see it's very common to see a headline come out. And so the fact that reverse splits and headlines often, not in this case, but often come hand in hand has created the effect that a lot of times a reverse split will result in a big move. And it's not just because of the reverse split, it's because of the news that's usually associated with it. But when these two patterns sort of become combined, it becomes hard to tell, is this happening because of the split or is it happening because of the news? And traders are looking for opportunity. So when you see a stock starting to move and you recognize it was a reverse split, it's just sort of like, this is an opportunity. So I see it squeezing up and I take a starter of 1,000 shares at 10.50. Now I only took 1,000 shares because I was looking at this and I was like, honestly, I think there's a decent amount of risk on this trade. I'm not sure that it's gonna be safe. And I didn't get filled at 50, I got filled at 65. Let me reset my screen share here. So I got filled at 965 with my first 1,000 shares. All right, and then as it broke over 65, it hit 75, I added at 88. So I had 1,400 shares at an average price of, I think it was 971, right around 971. All right, so then it pops up here. So it gets halted at a high of 988. So I'm like, okay, the stock is halted. You know, I'm holding 1,400 shares, whatever. You know, I'm down $1,400 on the day. I'm not expecting that this is going to be like a home run or anything like that. But I'm thinking first step would be maybe a test of the pre-market highs or a test of the 200 moving average, which is 1089. So this purple line right here. All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking at, you know, as being maybe where I'd want to be seeing a profit, potential profit. Okay, so it's halted for 10 minutes. It resumes, and then let's see, on the resumption, it dips down for a second, and then it surges up to a high of 1132. So it starts squeezing up. So basically, the way I trade stocks that are halted is when we're about to resume, I do one of three things. The first is if it opens lower and starts going down, I usually sell and take a loss. Okay, so that's option number one. If it opens slightly higher and is kind of showing weakness, I'll usually sell half. And if it comes back down to my entry, I sell the rest. If it opens that way and I sell half and then it surges back up, I add back what I sold because now it's showing strength. And when it opens substantially higher, like this opened at 1029. So it opened like 50 cents higher. So when it opens that much higher, I'm just like, okay, I'm already up so much on this that I'm just gonna give it a second. I don't need to sell right away. I'm just gonna hold the whole thing. And if it curls up, then I'm gonna add to my position. And so that's exactly what I did. So on this one, where is this? Okay, so we've got, okay, so, no, where is this? So that's where I added, okay, so here's my first entry. Okay, so 965, I add 1,000 shares. 988, I add another 400. So I've only got 1,400 shares. I'm not even trading with big size, but it opens higher. And so then I use my hotkey to add 2,500 shares at 1050 when it's showing strength. I get a partial fill of 1,700 shares and it surges right to 11. So now I'm in the driver's seat and this thing is strong. I add another 2,500 shares at 11 because now I'm seeing like this thing is obviously taking off, so I'm going to be aggressive. It squeezes up to 11. I add another 1,000 at 1120, and now it's halted on a circuit breaker. So now I have 6,900 shares, and my average price is 1061. All right, so now I'm in right about here, and now it's halted at 1132. So I'm up 60 cents per share on 7,000 shares, right? So I'm already up 3,000 bucks. It's halted, it resumes and squeezes up to a high of 1288. Now, when it squeezed up on this one, I didn't want to add coming out of the second halt right away. I wanted to start taking some profit. And so I tried to sell at 53. I tried to sell the whole thing actually at 53 and I didn't get filled. So then I hit the bid and sold at 19 because I was like, you know what? I kind of was like flustered. I wasn't paying attention to the level 2. I was looking at something else. And then all of a sudden I look back and it's trading and I'm like, oh my God, what did I miss? What price is this at? It's really kind of strange, but I just got distracted for a second, and next thing I know, it's resumed trading. And so I immediately like switched over and was like, take profit, lock up some profit. It then starts to curl back up, and so I add back 2,500 shares. I got filled 1,100 at 12.63. All right, so 12.63, and then I stop out of that at $12 because it didn't hold up very well. So, ended up being a $10,000 winner despite giving back a little profit off the top. This is, a setup that we've got some live examples in the classes of this reverse split setup. We've seen a couple of incredible moves come off reverse splits. KBSF is just one that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. I think TENX was one, INNT maybe. There's just been so many. And so, I jumped in quickly, was able to capitalize on these basically $4 per share of profit, and out of nowhere, I made $10,000. Now, if I had not added at 10.50 and 11 and 11.20, then I would have just been holding my 1,400 shares from 9.60, and I could have sold them at 12. So from 9.60 to 10.60 to 11.60 would be $2,800. So probably would have been like a $3,000 winner, right around $3,000 of profit. And what I decided to do instead was add. What I was risking was that potential, profit would have gone to zero because adding brings up my cost basis, and so I could have gotten stopped out break even. So I was risking unrealized profit, but the potential, being that this was a reverse split and it was squeezing up and moving quickly, was that it could be a big winner. I think what this also had going for it today was the fact that really nothing else was that active. So I think traders were more likely, as soon as something started to move, to jump on it a little bit more quickly, just because we're always looking for opportunity, and there wasn't a lot of it today. So once there was a little piece of something, it was worth jumping on fast. So, this ended up being a pretty decent trade. However, what I'm disappointed with is that it's really not holding up well at all. And so we've seen this happen. We've seen it happen both ways, where we see a recent reverse split. We traded on day 1, and by day 3, it's up at, $20 a share. Like it takes off and continues higher. And other times it does this. CHFS, I'm trying to remember when the split was. I can see the splits on my chart here. Let's see. Yeah, so look at this one. Here's a day where it squeezed from $3 to $25, right? That's a huge move. It was a recent reverse split when that had happened. Here's another day, a reverse split, gave way to this big move. Oh no, that was before it, so that was different. KBSF, this one I know did a reverse split breakout at least once. There you go, there's a reverse split breakout. That's one. Was there another one? No, that might have been the only one. So, it's really common to see this setup, and I'm definitely pretty aggressive whenever it starts to form. TENX, trying to remember. This one did a reverse split breakout in March. You can see right here. So we see these pretty regularly. BOXL was the last stock I traded today. This one was a recent IPO breakout. As you can see here, that's the setup I was thinking would happen on HJLI, but it didn't. But this one started to pop up, and I jumped in at 482 right here and 478, I guess. And I added at 32 and 39 and sold at 50, and then added back at 50 and sold at 44, and then the rest coming down at 491. So that was kind of a sloppy trade. Had some profit, but gave it back. I think at that point I was pushing it a little bit too hard. I was trying to really maybe turn this into a big, big day, and I just don't think it was really in the cards. So not a $10,000 day, but $9,516. Green is good, and definitely a surprise day. So again, going back to the fact that this morning I started with small share size because I expected the market would be a little choppy, having been choppy Thursday, Friday, and Monday. So didn't expect to see a lot of follow through. It was choppy to start. I was down $2,000, and then all of a sudden there was this big turnaround, and boom, took off and made some good money on it. So the most disappointing thing is that the two stocks that I traded, those two didn't hold up very well, and that's in keeping with the fact that in general, most of the stocks you're watching today haven't held up well. The market is still on the weak side for these small cap stocks. A couple opportunities, but staying power has been a little bit more difficult. It looks like BLIN's holding up the best of all of them, but it's been a slower mover. So I would say tomorrow I'm still going to keep 7,500 shares as my starter size, out of the gates. And if we see things open up like we did today or an opportunity strike, I'll be aggressive. But again, 6,000, 7,000 shares of this SCON, for me, is still not even big size. Big size would have been taking 10 or 15,000 shares of it. So, I in a stronger market, I would have been more aggressive, and in a stronger market, we might have seen more buying volume, and we might have seen a move up to 15. So, despite a good trade, I think the market is still a little slow, and I think we still have to be a little bit careful. So, we'll try to be smart tomorrow. We've got 5 days left in the month, and right now I'm crossing over $53,000 of profit on the month, which is pretty awesome. $53,000 on the month, $368,000 on the year. I'm about, only about $10,000 off last year's highs. So I'm getting very close to breaking last year's total profit, and it's only July, which is awesome. That means anything from this point forward, from August forward, is just extra profit. Sitting at $703,000 in my account that I started with $583 about a year and a half ago. So $296,000 to go before I cross the $1 million mark. That means I need to average $3,087 per day for the rest of the year. So, it's a marathon, but I am now 70% of the way there. So we'll keep it going. And, again, I know for some of you guys, this all seems crazy. The market's moving so fast. You might feel a little overwhelmed, and that's okay to feel that way at first. It's a learning curve, and I don't want you guys just to try to be in the chat room following me. I say it every day, but that's not a sustainable method. You're not going to make money doing that. You need to learn why I take the trades I take, why I get in where I get in, because the reality is the difference in 1 second can be the difference between getting in at $9.50 or getting in at $10 with some of these stocks. So you need to be able to execute 100% on your own. Just the latency between when I'm talking through the mic and stuff, it's just this needs to be real time. You need to be able to act. So my goal is that I'm able to teach you and sort of guide you, show you what's moving, and that you're able to execute and make the decisions yourself. And I saw a lot of you guys did. A lot of you guys had great trades today, but some of you guys also got in, you might have missed the first opportunities, got into, BOXL where I added up at, the $0.50 and then stopped out coming back down. That's what happened to me. I lost money on that drop, but I had a profit cushion to take the risk. So, that's where I was like, okay, I feel comfortable taking the risk because of where I'm at on the day. So anyways, that all comes with experience, and, this is a job where survive till you thrive. All right, so writing it down, the 134th day of the year, almost $10,000. Green is good. All right, so hope you guys enjoy the afternoon, get some rest, study up a little bit, and we'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9:15 for our pre-market analysis. All right, see you guys in the morning. If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.